Hello, lovely people, and welcome to another episode of our Schillering Hub podcast talking hospitality. Today, I'm chatting with David Merten. David, welcome to the show.
Hello, Mauricio. It's a pleasure to be here.
I've been to your tour before. It's a fantastic experience walking the streets of Prague and getting some storytelling. So tell us, how did the Nightwatchman of Prague start?
It started with an idea to bring an old tradition back to the streets of Prague, which was quite forgotten. I did do tours. Meanwhile, I studied in Germany 15 years ago, but I could see there's some unique way of entertainment in the streets a bit missing. I studied pedagogics and drama teaching, so I had always a big passion for bringing drama or bringing theater on streets by writing tours. And this is what I did here. And so the Nightwatchman started about 2016 on the streets. I started doing that alone. And then all over the time, I could find a few more people supporting.
Tell us, what happened then during COVID when everything stopped?
That was a very frightening situation, as you can imagine, for everyone in the field of hospitality. I had a team of 4 people in that time who did tours almost on a daily basis. And 2019 was a very successful year. You might recall that in terms of visitors to Prague, it was huge. I think we talked about more than 9 million people. So it was really crazy. And we had a great forecast for 2020. So the estimation was that it looked really good, also for us with lots of private bookings. But then from one day to the other, as soon as the pandemic hit us, of course, we also lost everything from one day to the other. As part of my business, we are, I have to say that we are more like not tour guides, we are more night watchmen and plague doctors. So we like to bring the history back to life, dressing accordingly to the 17th and 18th century. So we do a time travel. And in that time, we had really nothing to do with technology, the opposite, right? So we had nothing to do with that. But we could see that we need to do something differently then. Due to the times of COVID, we had to stop everything. So we moved it online. So we had an online event, workshops with other companies to look for ideas how we could establish, like doing tours online safely from home in the times of lockdowns while showing the beauty of Prague. And that's why we have taken the last remaining budget and we have shot a movie from the point of view as a tourist walking behind the guide, which was me in that time. And it was just a camera woman behind me. We rented a professional movie camera from the Prague Film Studios. And then we shot this abandoned city together with the guide walking through the abandoned town. And this is something we could not really imagine that this would work, and no one believed in that. All the providers we worked with were not very interested except one. They said, let's give that a try. So we did, and in the end it was quite successful. So for us, the times of COVID locked in our home was the busiest time we ever experienced in life. We did online events for lots of companies and individuals, so we could spark a bit of joy of traveling, remote traveling to the living rooms of people in their lockdowns.
It's just a fantastic story to overcome a very, very difficult time, and how that idea come about was coming from some inspiration from outside. How did it spark that idea?
The idea came before COVID to do something online because we wanted to offer to have like a remote travel experience for people who could not travel anymore, for people who were old or are old, people who are having a type of sickness that stops them from traveling around the world. Also people who are in a wheelchair, for example, so people with barriers, because Prague, Old Town, is not very barrier free, I would say. So people do not often come. And that's why we thought to do something online. But in that time, we could not find any cooperation partner. But there the story was born to do something online. And when the time came that we had to do it, we were kind of ready. So to just go ahead and do it.
How does coaching get into the mix?
Those are my 2 passions. So one passion is the storytelling and medieval history, and the other one is the coaching. I had the chance to lead and guide a team of very ambitious, but also very very skilled people who really give an immersive experience to the customers who come to Prague. They really enjoyed that, and I could always help them to build a bit their character to make it very unique. So one thing is knowledge, but more importantly is how they conduct tours. So it's very entertaining. And a coaching approach could always help me to kind of find the best resources within the team, that they would be really like empowered to be part of that and to find their own way of doing tours. So of course there's a script, of course there's base information, but overall it is more that they can really like fill it with the character that they developed for that. So coaching was a big part, how to develop the character and how to become very confident in the tours. Coaching is for me a communication type. It's a communication way. For me, it's not like something that you just learn and you apply it in a meeting room, a coaching. For me, it's a communication style that can be applied anywhere, whenever you kind of want to engage with people through asking questions. And often I realized that my team had much better idea than me. So I had to step back as a leader and also to let them come up because they had often better ideas. A great example is the reviews. Most of my people get better reviews than I do. So I think that's the best moment for a leader to see, all right, you can be a perfect leader if you create a group of people who are better than you. So I think then I can be perfect.
That's a very good point. If you can create a group of people that are better than you, that's amazing said. And how you're using now that coaching skills with sustainability and talking to executives in that new crisis. Now that we calm down a little bit from COVID, the world has gone away, but we have a new crisis. And how do you work the coaching and sustainability in this new world?
In the end, it's not so different because it's again some crisis. It's a threat to our environment and the environment we live in. The same when we had the situation with COVID, we had a lot of things that we did not know what a solution could look like and how to take it as an opportunity. Their coaching is a very important piece. So in the times of COVID, let me go back once more to that, because the most important was to also be there for the team and to also be there for the people and to create something and to be like active, not reactive, and just sit at home and wait and just watch, some television or whatever you do. So therefore it was better to be creative and to be active and also to create some kind of a relationship by doing something together, a new belonging kind of. So coaching was really helpful to empower the team to come up with new ideas, to do workshops in that time, to also create a product together. So the product is the sum of all the ideas we had in the team. And it was not just my idea there, so it was our team's idea. The same is happening now. There's a lot of people in the times of crisis again, which is the global threat of climate change. And there's a lot of people who have a similar situation, that they are not alone. They want to help and they want to move the needle towards a better and a greener place. There's a lot about efforts on regeneration. There's a lot of knowledge and expertise that get shared worldwide about biodiversity as an example. So there are so many things and trainings you can do. So coaching is helping now to have a solution-focused mindset, because this is what we need. We cannot focus on the crisis and we can't go back to normal. We do not want to go back to normal. We want to thrive in times of crisis. And in the Eastern world, crisis means an opportunity. And that's the beauty. That's the same as how stories are made. We are part of a big story right now. We have a crisis. From there, we get into a struggle. We need to adapt our behaviors. And from there, we go to resolution. And of course, it's painful. It's not easy. And for that, coaching helps a lot to find a mental health and well-being, resilience that you need to go through this, and at the same time a solution-focused approach to take action and to implement change.
That's fantastic. And one thing that comes to my mind is probably executives or leaders in the hospitality now listen to our chat here, and they may never experience coaching before. Maybe even there is a little discussion about the leadership in hospitality and how coaching should be part of that leadership skill, and it's not yet there. Some companies do that well. Most companies are not doing that well. And when they listen, they probably get a little bit of what should I expect from this, and what challenges executives are having on applying the knowledge that a coach can help them acquire. So could you help with this understanding?
The first thing that comes to my mind is that people in the hospitality who are in charge of leading, for example, they are director or they are leading groups in hotels as an example. So first of all, I do understand their pain point. It's not an easy situation. And there's often something that is even more urgent. So there's a need of focusing on what's important and what is urgent. There's a lot of things at stake and it's not easy. So first of all, I do understand that. How coaching can help them, there's different ways. So the first thing is that I think it's important to build this resilience that I mentioned earlier, that you feel strong enough to really care for your people, because it's the people who care for your business. So if we care more for our people, and that does not mean financially only, it means also to be there for them, to spend quality time. And that is also by increasing listening skills, to listen, not only to what are their struggles, but also to listen, what are their ideas to make it different. Sustainability is a great example. People might have a lot of ideas, but we do drive our organizations often in hierarchy, and there are reasons for that. We have experts in certain VIP roles, but nevertheless, it's the people who often are connected to their values if they also bring ideas to the table. And from there, it's good to rather facilitate as a leader, to facilitate the ideas of the employees, how to become more sustainable in both business and in climate.
Facilitate and empower, the two big words that you've been speaking here, that I hope that our leaders in the industry are listening and trying to catch and trying to get some understanding. Mm-hmm. And David, we speak a little bit about past and challenges of the present, and I like to try to foresee a little bit into the future. Yeah, and just we're talking about sustainability here. We're talking about coaching and about hospitality. How do you see hospitality moving in the next 5 years into the sustainability, and how can that help the business, either a hotel, a restaurant, and how can that help?
I would say that short term, the situation looks like that there's more and more customers, consumers who drive also the demand of moving more towards sustainability, also in the field of hospitality. And for me, it's the question a little bit like, of course, like 3 years ago, I could have also just waited until someone told me, what about moving it online? But if there's no one coming to tell me that, I would probably not have done that. So I think it's a bit about taking the courage and to react before you need to react. Because if you act now, you have also the chance to be completely the captain of the boat. So if you are the one who starts driving that change now, you do not need to wait until government, for example, releases any type of guidelines and restrictions where you are forced to react, which will be difficult. So I would say step by step, you can actually start doing that now. Imagine you have an implementation that is starting from one day to the other. It will be very difficult. It is better to make it like a product upgrade of what you are offering, and you include that as an option. An option would be to have it more sustainable for sustainable travelers. So that would be my idea on that. And long term, I would say that there's evidence that the situation will change. And this is what's going to happen. And I think the people who are leadership roles, they have one big decision to make, which is, are they going to lead the change or are they going to follow the change? The change will happen. But I think the question is, if you want to be the one leading the change that gives you a pole position, sure, it will be not easy, but you have a pole position on that, or do you want to change until others do and you just follow them?
Thank you, David. Thank you very much for enlightening a little bit here and bringing what could happen. Sometimes I think that the industry doesn't see what can happen as government obliging people to change, and how much stress that puts when you didn't create a strategy before, or even the thought process, just thinking about how would we do something better. And when the moment arrives, it's just too late, and it's about paying a big bill, probably some fines, until we can adapt. David, how can people contact you, talk to you, and learn a little bit more about what you do and how you can help them?
There are ways to stay connected, of course, or to get connected. For our Climate Executive Accelerator, we offer trainings how to become more sustainable, and that is linked from a sustainable moment up to some really interpersonal and soft skills, how to lead change, but also how to transform teams. We have the coaches in our group that are accredited for team coaching also in different regions around the world. How I can help personally, of course, there are a few things where I would say that I have a bit of expertise, which is like bigger teams. And yes, I like to be involved in conflicts, because conflicts are really chances to do things differently. And that's what I really purely enjoy. So that's what I like. The way how you can connect is on LinkedIn. So I'm happy to share also the details later on. We have a website for the Climate Executive Accelerator. And of course, if people look for like individual services as a coach that is not linked to climate change, then I'm also, of course, happy to help. How to increase productivity and how to connect values to the team, but also, for example, how you can change and adapt your communication style as a leader towards the audience. That is for your people and the team also very beneficial. So that's the things that come up to my mind.
David, you've been a leader of one group that we work together. I've been in your course as well with the Climate Executive Accelerator, being part of that course. And it's always a pleasure to have you, always a pleasure to speak to you. And I will put all the links here. Thank you very much for being on the show. And I hope that we can connect you with more people in the industry.
Thank you so much, Mauricio, for the opportunity. All the best to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shilary. Bye.